If you're a diehard fan of the NBA like Uncle KC, the NBA Finals have been compelling television. This series between the Thunder and the Pacers, it's actually exceeded expectations because most of the so-called experts, they thought the Thunder would have this series wrapped up by Game 5. From purely a basketball perspective, it has been a great series, and to their credit, the NBA is trying to do their part in Oklahoma City and in Indianapolis to make it feel like the NBA Finals. The NBA has done their part to make the series, at least locally in the local markets, feel important. The problem is, on a national level, their primary broadcast partner is absolutely dreadful when it comes to covering their most important league. To make matters worse, Adam Silver isn't criticizing ESPN, he's actually praising them. He's insinuating that ESPN does a better job covering the NBA than TNT. ESPN does an excellent job broadcasting and presenting college football. They're also great when it comes to broadcasting Major League Baseball. When you watch major college football games on ESPN or ABC, they feel important. It feels like a big deal. When you hear the voices of Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, you automatically know you're watching the biggest college football game of the week. I remember back in the 90s, when you heard the voices of John Miller and Joe Morgan, you knew you were watching a big-time game in Major League Baseball. For some reason, even though they have been the primary broadcast partner of the NBA for over 20 years, ESPN has absolutely no idea how to cover this league. ESPN's coverage of the NBA Finals has been so dreadful, it's probably the last time we see the current crew be given the opportunity to fuck this up. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channels in the description below. Ratings for Game 2 of the NBA Finals were even worse than ratings for Game 1. They took the record lows from Game 1 and lowered the bar even more with just 8.7 million viewers. Outside of 2003, it was the least watched Game 2 in the history of the NBA. Now, obviously, part of the reason for this is the matchup. Small markets combined with a complete lack of star power isn't exactly appealing to the casual viewer. But the other part of the equation is the substandard broadcast on ESPN. The in-game broadcast sucks. I mean, it sucks. I don't know what the hell happened to Doris Burke. She used to be good calling NBA games, but for some reason, Doris Burke seems to think she's a comedian. She spends an inordinate amount of time during the broadcast telling dad jokes. Hey, Mike Breen, pull my finger. Richard Jefferson is okay, I guess. There's nothing inherently wrong with Richard Jefferson, but at the same time, he doesn't exactly add to the broadcast either. Mike Breen sounds uncomfortable at times. He doesn't know whether to laugh with Doris Burke or laugh at her. The post-game coverage of Scott Van Pelt, it's good. It's good, but everything else is a flaming ass fire. The pregame coverage, the halftime coverage, it is an absolute embarrassment. Ken Perkins has suddenly transitioned from being a Celtics fan to being a Thunder fan. Bob Myers is a wealth of knowledge, but he's rarely given the opportunity to speak. Malika Andrews, she just reads scripted questions. Hey, Stevie A, isn't it ironic that SGA is named Shay and Shannon Sharp calls himself Shay Shay? Stephen A. Smith is forgetting names. The halftime show's an unmitigated disaster. Halftime in the NBA lasts 12-15 minutes. ESPN gives you 2 or 3 minutes of analysis, followed by an endless supply of commercials. And I struggle to call it analysis because oftentimes Malika Andrews, she loses total control of the show and it devolves into unintelligible yelling and screaming. Watch it for yourself.
But I'm with you. I'm careful of my Halliburton criticism, because for the ones that have done it,
he doesn't make them look very good.
He doesn't. I know, but I live in the world, Perk.
The main problem with ESPN is the presentation. The overall presentation, it doesn't make it feel like the NBA Finals. For guys like me, really doesn't matter, but for the casual viewer, it does. There's no pageantry, there's no exaggeration. If you turned on your TV before the game started, you wouldn't know if you're watching the finals or a regular season game in December. TNT makes that doofus in-season tournament feel like a big deal. I have seen ESPN put in more effort to the games they broadcast on Christmas Day. The All-Star game is a polished turd, but the presentation from TNT, it makes All-Star Weekend feel important, even though everyone knows it isn't. There's just nothing special about ESPN's coverage of the NBA Finals, and damn near everyone involved will likely lose their current role over this. I'm sure ESPN will rely on the crew from inside the NBA to handle the NBA Finals next year. I would imagine Mike Breen will maintain his position, but Doris Burke, Richard Jefferson, they're gone. ESPN has their best analyst, Tim Legler, sitting in the damn studio when he could be calling the NBA Finals. There used to be mainstream artists performing at halftime. Haven't seen that this year. It just doesn't feel important. It doesn't feel like the NBA Finals. This is why I questioned Adam Silver when he agreed to remain with ESPN for the next decade. I know they'll have NBC, who will consistently outperform ESPN, but ESPN will still be the NBA's primary broadcast partner. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why Adam Silver continues to prioritize a network that clearly does not prioritize the NBA. I know ESPN keeps the NBA in the mainstream. I know they talk about the NBA 9, maybe 10 months out of the year. But when it comes to presenting the product, and in some cases, when it comes to analyzing the product, the coverage at ESPN is substandard. Do you agree? Is ESPN's coverage of the NBA substandard? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys on the main channel.